People are absolutely freaking out, the FBI and Homeland Security included, and it has to do with President Biden, and not just his speech that he gave today to members of NATO. No, he is looked at as a joke, according to multiple reports, that other countries, our adversaries, are looking at us as a joke, and Democrats are even saying that President Biden is humiliating himself and the United States. So I want to break down what's going on. I want to play you a few of these clips, and so you can be a judge for yourself as to what we are looking like to other countries. So all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So let's start off by playing a clip. Look at this. This is from the NATO summit. Look at this.
Secretary, you've guided this alliance through one of the most consequential periods in its history. I realize, I was talking to your wife, I personally asked you to extend your service. Forgive me.
He just apologized. He said I realized I was talking to your wife. Yeah, it's a problem. He has no clue what he's doing. Listen to this one too. President Biden is struggling just to get through a speech, and guess what? He has teleprompters. If you have a teleprompter, you should not be stumbling over your words, no matter what. Listen to this.
For 5 additional strategic air defense systems.
I don't know what he said there. And then as he started walking off stage, he clearly had no idea where he was or who he was with.
Now I understand. You're standing there up on stage and just tell him, hey, let's go. Let's start moving. But President Biden seriously looked right at him. Like, who are you? What are we doing here? But this is why so many people are saying that President Biden has to step down. There's no other options for Democrats. That he has to step aside. He has to drop out of the upcoming race. Look at this one right here. This is from Democratic strategist James Carville. He said this on Monday, that it's inevitable that Biden drops out. Now, I want to actually read you the statement that he made. It's right here. It says, I don't predict things. I'm just telling you it's inevitable. He will come to the conclusion. People will get the message to him. He will understand. His family will understand. They'll pray on it, and they'll make the right decision. That's what he says. Now, here's the reason why this is a problem. Even Nancy Pelosi, she suggested President Biden could still be in this race, but she also suggested that there's still time that he could exit the race. But here's what you need to understand. There is a massive, massive problem around the world between Iran and the United States, China and the United States. We have Russia and the United States. A lot of tensions. Just look at this. It says Iran encourages Gaza war protests in U.S. to stoke outrage and distrust, intelligence chief says. Well, when was that? When did they tell us that? Well, look at this. This was just on July 9th. This was the last night. That's when this report came out. Okay? Because right now, we are hearing reports, and the FBI, Homeland Security have both been warning about this for several months, that an attack within the United States is inevitable. It's going to happen. It won't be shocking when it does. The shocking thing is where, how many people lose their life. That's what will be shocking, not the fact that there is an attack within the U.S. Keep in mind, we've had a pretty open U.S. southern border. People from Iran are coming across. People from China are coming across. People from our adversaries are coming across. We have known terrorists that have made their way into the United States. And we're just letting them in. There's nothing else we can do. I want to read a little bit of this to you. It says, the Iranian government is covertly encouraging American protests over Israel's war against Hamas in Gaza in a bid to stoke outrage ahead of the fall election, the nation's top intelligence official said on Tuesday. It says using social media platforms popular in the U.S., groups linked to Tehran have posed as online activists, encouraged protests, and have provided financial support to some protest groups. Director of the National Intelligence, Avril Haines, said in a statement. She goes on to say, Iran is becoming increasingly aggressive in their foreign influence efforts, seeking to stoke discord and undermine confidence in our democratic institutions. The big issue, though, is people are having a very difficult time. Inflation, right? The cost of just food, home, cars, right? Insurance, medical, things, everything has just gone up. And we are actually getting paid a little bit less than what we normally are, especially those that are on the lower to middle income scale. But this is the concern, is that some of these groups are providing financial support to these protest groups. You could make some money by going and being a vocal supporter and protesting. That's a problem. But again, this is just the beginning. When the FBI and Homeland Security said that, hey, just be prepared, they gave these warnings for the 4th of July as well, and they said to be on the lookout. Because the 4th of July, where people were down at the beach and at the park and having parties and large get-togethers, well, that was a problem, because that would have been an easy target. Now, this is where it's just beginning, though, and this is why I bring this to your attention. They're saying that it's going to ramp up as we get closer to the upcoming presidential election. The election's on November 5th. That's 118 days away from today. 118 days. That's not a lot of time, but that leaves us a lot of time to speculate for these protest groups to potentially attack us, to put a plan together, which they probably have had a plan in place for some time. But again, it all comes down to President Biden. This is what one person said to me. They say, the United States is being looked at as a joke. Biden is not fit for office. But something even bigger than Biden is happening. The U.S. is getting humiliated. Our adversaries are looking at us as a joke and have been for many weeks. Things aren't looking up. The statements that President Biden has made over the past couple of weeks have somewhat hurt him. The debate between him and former President Donald Trump, it really hurt him and most Democrats. But it was the speech on ABC that was supposed to help him. It didn't, because then it was found out that the person giving the questions, or one of the news reporters, they were being fed the questions. Okay, and again, we haven't seen a lot from President Biden, and then he comes out today and he's talking at the NATO summit, giving the speech there, and well, he screwed that one up too. He stumbled over his words, didn't know what he was doing, pretty much looked lost. This isn't a good look for the United States, and this is why I bring this to your attention, because what we are hearing is that it's not just the American people. Lawmakers are absolutely freaking out because the United States at this time is being looked at as a joke. So we'll see what happens moving forward. The one thing I can tell you is I'll be here every step of the way, and I'll fill you in on all the latest news and updates. But as of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.